Hey B Squad, what's up? It's your girl Kat back at it again with another video. And as you can tell by the thumbnail or even by the music in the background, this video is going to be a serious video, and it's going to be a sit down video where I tell you about my current battle with a mental illness. No, it's not bipolar disorder. No, it's not an eating disorder like bulimia or anorexia. And it's definitely not amnesia either. You got it right. I've been and I am currently battling depression. And this is where my personal story starts. I first knew I was depressed when my grandpa passed away 2 years ago. And I started feeling like sad and hopeless and guilty for him dying. Then I started thinking about suicide. And I started thinking about how it would be better for me to die and get rid of all the hurt than for me to live with the hurt and the guilt. Then I met this guy who I thought was going to be really good for me. And that was what I thought. But he became abusive, mentally, verbally, and emotionally. He called me names, making me feel worthless, which then triggered the depression. This time it was worse. I started crying at random times and all the time, which was worse. And what's worse than that is that I grabbed a pencil, much like this one, and I marked it into my wrist, bound to commit suicide. But I didn't do it. Then I met my ex, Chris. He made all of that go away. He made me feel great. He made me feel like I could conquer it. He told me about his own battles with depression and suicide. We argued, but he always gave me time to chill at the end of the argument. Then the worst thing that could have happened to me happened to me. July 25th of 2017, Chris committed suicide. When I found out, I was out to eat with my brother, Montgomery, and my boss, Hafiz. We were eating breakfast at a local restaurant, and when Chris's best friend texted me and said, "What happened to Reggie? What happened to Chris?" So I told him all I knew was what his sister had told me, and that was that he went to visit family for a couple days and he left his phone there. Then the best friend came back and said everyone was writing RIP on his page. So I went and looked and found out my worst fear. I looked at Hafiz and said, "Chris is dead." And Montgomery looked at me and goes, "What?" And I said, "Chris is dead." Then I messaged his sister what happened to Chris, and there was no response. Then I messaged a really wonderful lady named Brandy, who was a member of the family, and she told me that he killed himself. I freaked out, fell to the floor of the restaurant, and started crying. My brother took me outside, and Hafiz took care of the bill, and I would later thank him for that. I called my grandma and told her that Chris had committed suicide, and that I was leaving to go to Indiana tonight, and that there was no way she was going to stop me. She said that I was not to go anywhere, but back to Riverwatch, and she would come and get me, and we would discuss it later. For a month, I didn't leave my house except to go to my dad's house and or go to work. And on the days that I didn't have to work, I didn't come out of my room except to shower and eat very little and go to the bathroom and even travel to my dad's house. I stayed at my dad's house one night, and that's when the nightmare happened. Yes, the nightmare. The surreal nightmare that I was going to Chris's house, and I had gotten to his house, and I was going to see him. And I turned to get my bags out of the back seat, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw Chris hang himself from a tree. Everything froze. I couldn't move while he was doing so. But once it happened, everything in the dream unfroze. I ran over, grabbed his lifeless body from the tree, and he fell into my lap, and I fell to the ground. I screamed and cried for somebody to get him help, but then nobody was around. It became very dark. After that, the depression got worse, and I contemplated suicide. I started thinking about how life would be better without me, and maybe I wouldn't be such a bother or a nuisance to people. But like every other illness, I have good days and I have bad days. And this is where I share my message for those of you who are battling depression and don't think that you can make it anymore. Listen to me, and please do not take anything I say lightly or as a joke. You are worthy of the life that God has given you. No matter how much hate, how much low self-esteem you have for yourself, or how little self-worth you have, you are a strong person and you deserve to live the happiest life. If you need my help or just need someone to be there for you, or need someone to talk to who has been through it, DM me on my social media. If you know someone who needs help because they are contemplating suicide or going to attempt suicide, please, no matter how much they beg you not to get them help, because that is where I would get my downfall. My downfall in this story would get worse because I know a secret about Chris that nobody else knows, that I promised him that I would not tell. But because he is gone and can no longer do anything, I feel it is right to live his peace and to tell his story. A few months before he committed suicide, Chris called me on the phone. And we were hanging out, and then I laid in bed and we were going to sleep on the phone together. He had told me about an attempt of suicide at the elderly lady's house where he worked. He said that she had a bucket and a rope, and he tied the noose and he put it around his neck. He was just getting ready to kick over the bucket when the thought of me came in his head. The thought of me stopped him. I stopped him. I said, I gotta tell somebody or else you're going to do it again. He said, please, baby, do not tell nobody. Don't get anybody involved in this. I'm begging you. I cannot end up on suicide watch again. I told him that I had to do it, and he begged me and started crying. I said, you have to promise to me that you'll never do it again. He promised. I should have gotten him help no matter how much he begged. He couldn't fight it on his own, and the people that you know can't fight it on their own. If you are depressed and or suicidal, you don't have to go through this alone. I'm here for you. All you have to do is DM me and I will listen to you and even give you my advice. I will check on you every day, and that is my promise. I want everyone to know I am here to spread positivity and to share my story. I will also share Chris's story as well, and anybody else's story that I know of who committed suicide. I want to give a couple shout outs to a couple people. My cousin Sadie. Thank you so much, Sadie, for being my older sister and being there to check on me when Chris committed suicide. Natalie. Thank you so much, Natalie, for doing the best job you can to be there and comfort me. To you and your sister both, you guys are the best friends that I ever could ask for, even if we are family. You're the sisters that I need, and you keep me level-headed when I'm not able to be level-headed. Y'all didn't know I had a depression until the day I showed you the meds that I have to take. And you said, what is that for? And I remember clearly what I told you. It was because Chris committed suicide, and you guys looked at me and you said, it's okay. Grandma Denise, thank you for being the one that keeps me level-headed through everything, and thank you for trying to get me help. Daddy, I love you so much, and even though I never told you about the nightmare I had at your house, I didn't want you to think that I was weak. To my boyfriend Eddie, baby boy, I love you to death. You saved my life, and no matter how much I tell you, you saved my life. I was thinking about killing myself the day after my live broadcast when I met Eddie. Because I was at a low point in my life and I didn't want to do it anymore. To the one who screwed me over, and you know who you are, I want you to know Thank you for opening my eyes to the world of great guys there are out there. Thank you for screwing me over so I know what it's like to get myself back up and pick the pieces up. If you found this video inspirational, then like this video and share it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you can be in the Beast Squad. And also make that bell ring so you can be a beast and know when I post more videos like this. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, love, and positivity.